Do you see the Delhi bomb blast of 10/11 as an intelligence failure or as an intelligence success?
See, it's both. It's a failure in the sense that there was a cell or a network which was being established and it slipped through the cracks. Now, very clearly that happened. The fact that somebody could collect 3,000 kilograms of ammonium nitrate and no alarm bells went off, that is also an administrative failure. Ammonium nitrate is a controlled substance. You just can't sell it. If you go tomorrow and buy it, it's not. अब यहाँ पर तो controlled drugs भी होती हैं जो बिक जाती हैं. So but the thing is, a controlled drug will harm an individual. Selling controlled substances like this, which are potential explosives, can be used for terrorism and will kill hundreds of people or potentially hundreds of people. So shopkeepers need to be sensitized about it. And frankly, if the shopkeepers have not followed the law, then I think they really need to be taken to task.
Okay, if I have to play the devil's advocate, I'm a shopkeeper in Faridabad and I'm stocking under, keeping all the security parameters in mind, I'm stocking ammonium nitrate. एक फार्मर आता है 2 किलो लेके जाता है, दूसरा फार्मर आता है अगले दिन उसी दिन 2 किलो लेके जाता है. 10 people come and take 5 kilos, 10 kilos, 8 kilos because it's needed for agriculture. It's a fertilizer.
So here is how it works, which is where the intelligence guys come in. Now, when this information is being collected, there has to be a system that is being fed into the system. And that is where you have to start making sense. Okay, why is there so much of offtake of this thing? It's unnatural. For the last 4 years, there was only so much fertilizer. Okay. So, then that is where analysis comes in. Which is why Mr. Chand is saying that, the intelligence agencies work very well, and I have no reason to doubt that. But from what I have also heard, they are severely staffed for resources. They need to be much more, in terms of personnel, they need more people. I don't know, sir, correct me if I'm wrong, because I had heard this. I have no other way of verifying it. There was a time when our counter-intelligence department in the IB had 25 people.
For a population of...
about IB, I cannot say. I cannot comment.
But
that's
short-staffed. Okay.
So he's a good old conservative...
We'll not talk about that
civil
department.
servant. Which is fair enough.
All
which
right.
is fair enough. But the point is, I personally feel, given the kind of challenges we face, the kind of threats we face, you really need to beef up your domestic as well as external
and
intelligence.
more coordination between the states,
Absolutely,
I would guess,
absolutely.
Right?
I think a lot has changed from the past, but I think you can still improve. Which is why I say that one was the administrative failure, that nobody was maintaining those registers, and now suddenly everybody is saying, but I didn't know. I didn't know is not an excuse, right? And then even if these guys are sharing that information, somebody needs to start making some sense out of it. To that extent, and to the extent that there were no alarm bells ringing about this particular network, and they were able to operate below the radar, is a kind of an intelligence failure.
Sushant,
not failure.
Alarm bells should have rung immediately for Haryana when they realized that one university has 40 doctors from Kashmir in one place.
So that university should have never come up in the first place.
अब पता लग रहा है कि उनका वो
and I can assure you there will be at least another 100 universities
which are similar,
which should have never come up in the first place. But then you come to the intelligence success part and good policing.
And here when I'm saying Kashmiris, I don't mean to stigmatize Kashmiris.
Of course.
Because you see what Omar Abdullah and Mehbooba Mufti are saying, that all Kashmiris are not terrorists. So don't say, don't do this, because now we will
Omar
start
Abdullah
doubting.
is saying the right thing.
Correct.
Mehbooba Mufti is being disingenuous, and that is as simple as that. Now what Omar Abdullah is saying, why I agree with Omar Abdullah, look, you have the Jammu and Kashmir police, predominantly Muslims. Right, from the valley. They have been in the vanguard of this fight against terrorism. You cannot function. They are your eyes and ears. They, the kind of sacrifices they've made are second to none. So when you start stigmatizing everybody, I don't think, you are either being patriotic or being fair to
No,
people.
Sushant, what I'm
So
saying
to
is
that
that जो
extent, I
मैंने
agree
अभी
with.
जैसे कहा that there are 40 Kashmiri doctors in a hospital and a university in a remote Faridabad town in Haryana. Should the local Khabri network of Faridabad have kept them in focus a little bit?
Okay, so-
in one way, it is stigmatizing.
No,
कि ये कश्मीरी
no,
है
no.
तो इनको
Okay,
क्यों? But I would think even if there are 40 Bengali or 40 Bihari doctors just in one university, you'd think that is there some connection? Why?
नहीं यार देखो, this is an ex post facto जो आप सोच रही हैं. So look, I'll say two things. One is on the intelligence success and good policing, that you catch hold of some. We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
That certain posters had come up. There was a local police officer who said, "Yeah, this is happening after so much time. Let's investigate." And then you start unraveling the whole thing, and then everybody comes together, and the whole network starts unraveling, which is why it was a success. This bomb blast, in a sense, was an aberration. The success was that you seized everything. You ensured that plot never could go through. So that was it's a resounding success. And I think kudos to everybody who was involved in that. Now you come to the other thing of the Khabri network. Again, I don't know how much he will talk. That's the problem with these guys, These guys come and they don't talk. And this is my problem with Mr. Vikram Sood. I've known him for 25 years. He doesn't open his mouth. So, that's, I don't like him because of that.
Because there are enemies also watching, right?
Yeah, I know. But, for us...
Curiosity.
हुआ क्या था exactly? What happened behind the scenes? But look, so here is the point. And this is a question, sir, please, to the extent you can answer this. See, I have often asked this question. And again, I'm not stigmatizing a community or anything. You could take it for any community.
Sure.
In Assam, you could take it, for people who might be Ulfa inclined. In Punjab, you could take it for the Khalistani lot. In rest of India, if you're looking at the Islamist networks or Islamist terrorism, jihadi terrorism, then you have to look at the Muslim community. And if there is some Hindu terrorist, by all means, go and check that. But the question which I ask is, what are the conversations which are taking place in a particular society, in a particular area? So, for example, if I'm talking about a university, there are kids, for example, in Aligarh Muslim University or Jamia Millia. Again, before people start throwing stones at you and me and him, that you are stigmatizing by naming certain universities. You can talk about JNU for all I care.
Yeah.
Right? And Delhi University, which is
Jadavpur.
my alma mater. But my point is that when students in these places are sitting, what are the conversations? When, say, 15 Muslim students are sitting in a room and they're talking about politics, about geopolitics, about strategy, about economics, what are they talking? What is triggering them? Do we know those conversations? Do we know how the brains are functioning in a madrasa or in a particular locality? What are people talking about? That will give you an idea of what might be happening in a particular place. And I know it's much easier for me to say this, but it's much more difficult when you have to start implementing it at the practical level. But until and unless you know this, you're always going to be surprised. How come so many doctors have got involved? Like the entire media is labeling this white-collared crime. What the hell do you mean by that? What was Shami Witness? You remember that guy who was doing all the propaganda for the ISIS techie from Bangalore who was caught?
Engineer. Yeah.
Working in Google or something like that, some fancy bloody company.
So it's not new, you're saying?
So, look, the very poor people don't get involved in terrorism. They don't have the time. They don't have the luxury to get involved in terrorism. The people who get involved in terrorism are people with some means.
The earlier thing was
there is some education.
Gurbat itni hai, so
that's the biggest bullshit I've ever heard. That poverty leads to terrorism. Poverty does not lead to terrorism. Was Osama bin Laden poor?
No.
Was Ayman al-Zawahiri poor? Was this guy Omar Saeed Sheikh of Kandahar, jisko choda tha, was he poor?
Yeah.
So this poverty business is utter nonsense, right? All of these excuses which are given is utter bullshit. These are covering fire. These are typical leftist way of looking at things. Ke ji, they were very poor, so they had no choice, so they took to guns. When Khalistani terrorism happened, was Punjab poor at that time?
No.
Wasn't Punjab the richest state in India? Was Kashmir poor when Kashmiri terrorism happened? Kashmiri lives had improved by leaps and bounds. So terrorism is not about poverty, it's not about economic factors. It has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Again, I'm quoting from media because we are only getting media reports right now. Dr. Shahid, who was tasked with creating Jaish-e-Mohammed's women terror wing, Jamaat-ul-Momit. She's supposed to have contacted the Delhi blast plotter, Dr. Shaheen, was in touch with this Sadia Azhar and Afira Bibi. Now, who are these people? Afira Bibi's husband, Umar Farooq, was the mastermind of the 2019 Pulwama attack. Sadia Azhar's husband, Yusuf Azhar, was the brain behind the 1999 Kandhar hijack. Now, they get in touch with this woman who's a doctor in UP. That lady supposedly leads a normal life. She's with her husband, leads a normal life, has 2 children. She dumps her husband. She never used to wear hijab or anything like that. She used to be part of, she was employed in a government hospital also. She leaves her husband, divorces him, leaves the children with the husband, disappears for some time. She was living in the same gully as her brothers. Her brothers say we don't know anything about her. She was living in the same area, locality, kuch nahi pata, she disappears, lands up, and then her ex-husband says she wanted to go to Australia and was going to call us, hum log Australia jana chahte the. Very loose story, probably will be interrogated by the police and we'll get to know later kya hai. This is what he has said in media interviews. And then she gets in touch supposedly through the dark web and gets recruited to do this. You've interrogated so many of these people, these what Chidambaram calls homegrown terrorism. I don't like the word grown because it seems as if some state intelligence organizations are growing them. These are people who are radicalized in some way, either self or through whatever networks. Do you think that it's so easy to recruit people, to get them radicalized in this country? Was it so easy to get women radicalized also? One would think that it's not easy to just get a woman to leave her job, leave her children.
See, radicalization, the initial reason is religion. I think we all have to accept that. Muslim gets radicalized because of the religion. But most important thing is, once you get radicalized, how do you sustain yourself? That is terrorism. That is money. Money. Both go together. Once you are radicalized, then the money factor comes into play, and money sustains
How is
terrorism.
the money coming into these people?
See, money earlier on, when we used to investigate, it used to come through Hawala channels.
Hawala
channels. Most of the money used to come through Hawala channel, and sometimes it came through Western Union and some such agencies.
Okay.
Nowadays, I think it comes through charities and other
NGO networks.
But
and all that.
charities were involved even then, no?
We actually, when we busted these gangs and all that, terror modules and all that, they mainly through Hawala. They were all conducting.
Because otherwise there were big charities in the Middle East and in Pakistan and other places which used to, but maybe it was coming through Hawala
from those charities.
Do the families never get to know when this happens?
No, that is not. They get to know.
They know.
Yeah, definitely they know. In fact, all of us are talking about a lady, who has been, has been radicalized and all that. Prior to that, although, I would name, if you know Aisha Indrawi.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Duktarane Millat.
Yeah, Duktarane Millat.
So, she was also radicalized.
Yeah.
But
they threw acid on people who went to beauty parlors.
But she not, I would say cannot, there was no, evidence to prove that she was involved in terrorism, but she was a total separatist. And she has been arrested a number of times. So it's nothing new that women are involved in, these type of activities.
But that lady, Dukhtarane Millat, Asiya Andrabi, was about Azadi for Kashmir. What did this lady sitting in Lucknow want?
See, as I told you, I mean,
She doesn't want UP ke liye Azadi.
no. As I told you, the radicalization has taken place in whatever manner, through the, through online or through going to the mosque or all that. See, once your mind is radicalized, then what happens basically is, I don't know, about the lady I cannot say, then you are, what do you call, these people, whom we had interrogated earlier, the terrorists, they used to be shown pictures of what you call atrocities. Atrocities done on the Muslims in India, atrocities done on Kashmiris in India, the demolition of the Babri Masjid. And then फिर तकरीर होता था पूरा. Sermons and everything. So your mind was totally what you call, I would say the word polluted. Totally
And it's
polluted.
not a one-off thing. It's like relentless.
Relentless. Absolutely, you are there at it. And then once your mind gets diverted and you are moving towards that end, and then the money factor comes in. You get paid for doing, like as I told this Ashfaq Ahmed, he came here, set up all the money used to come from Pakistan. So money, easy money coming in.
So the neighbors, the family, they don't suspect कि कुछ हो रहा है, because most people who have been interviewed in the past week all say वो तो बिल्कुल normal था. The brothers and sisters, वो तो पढ़ाकू था, पढ़ता था सारा time.
It is not possible. Whatever they say, they may be telling this to save themselves. But what happens is you have seen the person earlier and you have seen the behavior after he or she has been radicalized. So it's a different set of behavior comes in.
But sometimes these are very subtle changes.
I don't think they are subtle changes.
They're not subtle.
They are not subtle changes.
Okay.
So let's take the case, for example, of many of the ISK guys who've been arrested in India. After they have been arrested, people will tell you, you know what, suddenly he had changed. He used to go to the mosque very often. He used to berate us when we used to watch television. He did not want to hear music. Now, these are red flags, right? But listen, if it's your kid, what are you going to do? Go to him, the cop, and say, listen, I think my son's getting radicalized. There have been some cases where parents have actually done that.
Yeah.
But in most of the cases, you will say, I'll take him to the local Maulviji to tell him that he's going on the wrong path. Now, you don't know if that Maulvi is also a smart dude or he's a dumb ass who will probably buttress the radicalism.
So most mothers of these OGWs or whatever say वो spiritual path पे चला गया. There are words to use. I don't want to use that word, but the word basically translate to वो spiritual path पे चला गया. So it doesn't sound negative. But
listen, but what do you expect the family to do?
Yeah.
Do you expect them to go to the local law enforcement? Achha, in many cases, the local law enforcement will not be sensitive to it. So,
because radicalization is not an offense in the sense that unless a violent act has not been committed, it's
but
not
even
an
otherwise, even otherwise. So, supposing I am showing, signs of being radicalized. You notice it, you go to him. Now, it depends on what kind of a person he is. If he is one of those more sensitive guys who know how this whole thing is working, he might say, okay, let me talk to this boy, let me take him inside, let me try some, put him through some programs to de-radicalize him. If he is, on the other hand, he is one of those, this guy is going to become a terrorist, let me beat the shit out of him. Then you will say, I don't know what he's going to do. So you will say, I hope this boy is just becoming spiritual, taking to the path of religion and, getting into some otherworldly nonsense. Because I consider all otherworldly stuff is nonsense. Because I don't know if there is any other world anyways. So my point is that in many cases, people will tend to keep quiet. And once the person is caught or found out or is found to be involved in something, denial is the natural defense system.
True. True,
So
true,
they'll
true.
defend themselves. What do you expect the guy to say? I knew my wife is becoming a radical. Then the cops will ask him, why didn't you inform us?
Yeah. You mentioned the Babri demolition that happened. That spawned a number of terror cells, sleeper cells, attacks which were supposed to be revenge for the
Revenge for
1990.
the demolition, yeah.
When you saw the visuals of Operation Sindoor and the bombing of the headquarters there, where they had in front there was the mosque and piche there was they were doing all the activities out there. When you saw that the dome of that mosque had been bombed, did you sense at that moment that there will be repercussions from that end?
See, that was expected. If you're not expecting it, then I think you're living in a fool's paradise. You have gone and attacked Jaish-e-Mohammed. And you must, as I told you earlier also, that Jaish-e-Mohammed is a very, a potent militant organization. So that the action was would have come. But I don't think the present module that has been busted. I think, as far as I know from media reports, it has been going on for quite some time, much before Operation Sindoor. So that their radicalization must have been earlier itself. See, what happened basically is the hinterland. We call this, apart from the valley, everything else is the hinterland. Hinterland has not been, affected for quite some time. So the aim was basically to sort of target the hinterland. Last, I think, bomb blasts we had was, 2010, 11, 12, something like that. About a decade back. So main aim was to target the hinterland. And ammonium nitrate, ammonium nitrate has been the explosive material much in demand by all the terrorists. And it is right from the time of Parliament attack. Much before that, ammonium nitrate has been used. In fact, as far as I remember, because of our efforts and all that, 2012 law came into existence, where if you are selling ammonium nitrate, you have to maintain the data.
Yeah,
whom
but
you are selling, whom you are selling.
koi nahi kar raha.
That is lack of supervision.
Yeah.
And that data had to be submitted to, I think, the administration, if I'm not mistaken.
So even when that truck in Birbhum was found, the sacks, usme jo label tha, that had all been mitowed. So you can't.
You can't do. You can't see it. But the facts is data. तो आप check तो करो ना. There has to
Correct.
be
कि कहाँ से निकला है?
End of the day.
And was it shared with other states?
So
होता नहीं है.
That's what. There's no central.
Here is where the administrative failure comes. You've passed the law. There would be some nodal person, for example, in Faridabad, who has to ensure that this data is shared with him.
Properly maintained.
What was he doing? Scratching his ass? Why isn't he being asked? What the were you doing?
Yeah.
Why were you not keeping a check on it?
And also, it's possible it was bought in some other state and then transported, no?
No matter what.
No matter what. If I am selling ammonium
There has
nitrate,
to be
I
a
have
date.
to maintain the data and I have to share the data. Or, somebody has to come and check whether the data is being maintained properly or not. So definitely, I would say that that aspect was lacking. It's not lacking in Faridabad, it's lacking everywhere
also. This is a problem in every single department of government.
Let me come back to the question which I was asking Mr. Chand about this, that when we attacked, it was Bawalpur, Jaish-e-Mohammed Bawalpur was attacked. So when you saw that, did you think that, back broken, or did you realize that it's a matter of time before these guys do something to avenge that mosque being shattered?
No, I think it was very clear if you see the kind of statements that the Lashkar characters and the Jaish fellows have been making, and there are videos, they have been going around all kinds of places, making speeches, blood-curdling speeches. It was very clear that they were going to try and do something. The question was, it is one thing to be threatening revenge, and quite another do they have the kind of capacity and capability that they'll be able to do it, number one. Number two, what will be the role of the Pakistani state? Because these guys cannot function without the Pakistani state. So quite clearly, I think the intentions of the Pakistani state was also very clear. that they are not going to let go of this whole terrorism industry which has started in that country, and they will continue to doing it. Now, maybe they'll do it at smaller levels so that there is no big retaliation, and maybe they'll say, okay, India, bring it on. Okay, we don't know. Like I've been telling some people, if you are a Pakistani and you have bought all the bullshit which Asim Munir and that his chapadasi Shahbaz Sharif have been trying to sell people, what is the story they are giving? That we have beaten India, right? None of them talk about the kind of beating they got, but we have beaten India. We have won the war. I don't know which war it was, but they've supposedly won a war. America is at our back. The Chinese are at our back, of course. The Turks are backing us
Azerbaijan,
completely.
yes, all of them.
And now even the Arab world, which had kind of pulled away from us, is backing us. So we can take on India. Because if Saudi Arabia has signed a deal with us, a mutual defense agreement, India cannot attack us anymore because then Saudis will jump in. This is the Pakistani narrative. So add this to the kind of calls which the terrorists have been making. So it was, I don't think anybody in the government of India or in the security services would have thought that the Pakistanis are not going to do anything. I think that
this
expectation would always be there.
So this is an asymmetrical attack on India, which is a continuation of retaliation to Operation Sindoor?
Look, again, in this particular case, I think I'll still wait till the investigations are complete, and I'll tell you why. Because I think Mr. Chand pointed this out. This cell does not emerge after Sindoor. This cell has been in operation for about at least 3 or 4, 2 years, maybe even longer.
Media
right?
reports, yeah.
Right? So this cell has been there long standing, and I think this cell was planning something big. Now, were they planning something big because the Pakistanis had put them to it? Or were these guys who were radicalized in a different environment, maybe having some Pakistani link? Because if again,
and it's got nothing to do with the 27th Amendment and General Munir continuing.
No.
This is nothing to do with all that. The attack was not timed.
Okay, this is the problem. When you start talking to me about Pakistan, then I can't stop. But on the 27th Amendment, just one sentence. What has the 27th Amendment done?
Given him immunity, that's
Nothing.
all.
A general in Pakistan always has immunity. The only person it has given immunity is to that crook, Asif Zardari. Okay. Musharraf could not be prosecuted.
दुबई चला गया था ना
वो कोई नहीं कर सकता, आपको prosecute नहीं कर सकते. But the point is not that. 27th Amendment has only made official what was already there.
नहीं, look, if Imran Khan comes back into politics, he could do some stuff to Munir. So अगर
when
ये
Imran comes back, we'll talk about it.
अच्छा ठीक है.
That is what you call
We'll talk about what he gaya when it's like.
He's not going to be
Can I
permanently
make a political
in jail.
statement?
हाँ बोलो.
It's like saying Rahul Gandhi जब Prime Minister बनेगा तब ये होगा. तो मतलब ठीक है जब वो बनेगा तब की तब देखेंगे.
हाँ.
So that's not the point. So I would imagine that, look, we have been in a bit of denial within India. There is a certain amount of radicalization which is also taking place in India. Some of it and a lot of it is probably inspired by terror groups outside India. International jihadist groups, the kind of propaganda which is happening on the internet, social media, all kinds of other chat rooms, all kinds of other things. All of that has been happening. But in at least at the political level, there has been a level of denial that there is radicalization taking place within Indian society, among Indian Muslims, and you see more of it among the educated and the half-educated. Because they are the ones who are consuming the kind of trashy videos that you and I would not even look at. But they are consuming it, right? So, I don't know, again, because the investigations are still ongoing. What were the links these guys had with the foreign fellows? Was there
How
a
do you
Pakistani
monitor
head?
it, Sushant? It's become so big now. I mean, you were saying आप लोग आजादपुर मंडी में जाते थे और वहाँ पे you would see that these guys are mostly have all of them gone or some of them have gone to Pakistan, got trained. Now they don't even need to go across. It seems like they're getting on Telegram, on any other.
There are a lot of apps now which we cannot monitor also. and these apps are being used. Why apps? Even the websites and all that are being used for these type of activities.
Yeah.
And
So it's literally Bhagwan Bharose. How is one supposed to
so
police?
it's not. I would say it's not Bhagwan Bharose. You see, I mean, you have worked with.
ऐसे भी अंधेर नगरी नहीं है.
If you have worked with
To me, it
intelligence
seems like we're
agencies,
sitting ducks.
I mean, things are monitored. It's not that everything is unmonitored. There is monitoring. There is monitoring of the, channels and communications and everything. So, how far it is successful and how far we get information, or whether he is using that channel which we are intercepting, or which we have kept under observation or not. So that is a issue. But they are being monitored. Even at my time also we used to monitor. Now also they are being monitored.
Look, we're talking about doctors, engineers. You would think that these are people who are educated and have common sense, that they would know that they could be
That is your
used.
presumption.
I
That's what I'm
just
asking.
say that basically, as I told you, motivation is religion. You must understand that, irrespective of whether he is a doctor or a software specialist. See, it's not that it's the first time these white-collared people have come inside. It's a very wrong denomination. Earlier on also we have had white-collared people like engineers and being a part of the terror modules. And I agree with him totally that it is basically the educated and the half-educated who are drawn towards these terrorist models, because the poorer sections of society, they're busy earning their livelihood. They have no time for these activities. It is these people who I wouldn't use the class here, but you can have lower middle class. These are the
यार communist कौन बनता था? Did you ever see a mazdoor who was communist? Because the mazdoor had to do mazduri, yaar. It was the communist was always either really elite champagne liberal, right? He became a communist, right? Somebody was roaming around in a Merc, but was preaching communism, or the middle class type, It's the same thing with a terrorist.
But a doctor, a physician, it's a little shocking. They take the oath to cure people. And for
What
them
about Ayman al-Zawahiri?
yes. But
I
you
can
would
show
think,
many others who were like that.
I don't know, an Indian doctor, I would
Yeah,
think.
look, this is your class bias. Okay, I'm accusing you of a class bias.
Okay.
That, look, these were people like us, educated.
They are, no.
University going, etc., etc. Because you are not understanding what's happening in their brains. When that Mentos moment comes in their brain and the switch suddenly flips, you have no idea which way they're going to go. Which is why, this nonsense which is always said, we should educate people that terrorism is a very bad thing. You think people don't know terrorism is a bad thing? But they don't think they're doing terrorism. What these guys think is that they are serving a larger religious cause, the cause of the community. They don't understand they're damaging the community. That they are creating a kind of a resentment against the community, which will, normal, ordinary people who are doctors among the Muslim community will also now be tarred by a certain brush. These assholes don't think like that. They think that they are doing this for the greatness of the cause, for the community, for Allah, etc., etc., which is nonsense, but that is what they believe in. You don't seem to understand that, this is what is sticking in their head. It is not the other stuff, the earthly or the worldly stuff that you and I are bothered about. That is not what is sticking with them. That is where the problem.
Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching ANI podcast with Smita Prakash.
अगर हम उसको मस्जिद कहेंगे तो फिर विवाद होगा.
The issue is टूटा है क्या भारत?
400 पार का मतलब ये है कि संविधान खतरे में है.
क्या हम लोग ये निर्देश देते हैं कि फला को गिरफ्तार करके जेल डाल दें?
वही तो कह रहे हैं सब.
ये बेबुनियाद निराधार आरोप.
सच्चा सुनना चाहो देखो स्मिता प्रकाश ANI. It does not lie.